I gotta get this off my chest. I had a bit of a small tiff on Reddit regarding Rogers. Say that 3 times fast, just before the holidays. We're gonna explore that, and we're also gonna take a look at our updated free hit draft. Yes, it's updated, and I've considered a few things that a few of you have mentioned about your own teams for free hit 18. And then finally, I put together a small holiday checklist. It's not too much, but enough to keep you thinking of what you should consider for your FPL teams as we head into the new year. Welcome to my channel. I'm Femi, and let's jump right into it. Okay, so Morgan Rogers. So let's back up on Morgan Rogers because all I see on socials is a lot of his XG stats given his shots. Let's back up to what we actually do know about this player. So he is the second in goals among midfielders, fourth in points, and seventh in bonus points. He's also been in my squad as a differential since Gameweek 10, which, as you guys know, differential is under 10% owned. He's a lot higher than that now, but still, there's this hesitancy because of the data around, should I put Morgan Rogers in my squad? So on Reddit, there was someone who posted something along the fact that the same refrain we've heard from data managers saying, oh, look at his XG stats. He's not going to be able to keep this up. Okay, fair. But I've had him since game week 10, and I've had him for all of these runs of double-digit hauls. Of course, that's something to consider and to think, okay, yes, he may not be able to keep this up, but you need to meld the data with what you're actually seeing. Aston Villa is flying. They have won 10 plus games in a row. They are doing well in all metrics. Morgan Rogers is a star player. He's a 90-minute man. He's looking to get a World Cup spot. And, you know, I said all these things in my comment that you have on the screen here. And essentially, it's like, this is a star player that maybe is overperforming, but in FPL, what is it about? It's about the points every game week. Would you have rather had Morgan Rogers in your squad or not? Answer that question for me, and that is all you need to know. At 7.0 million and just a little bit above now, he was definitely worth the risk as a differential as we saw Villa start to turn. And that was where I was using my eye test. The Villa squad was starting to turn and do a lot better, and Morgan Rogers as that star player was a huge part of that. So ultimately, and then, I think he followed up with his comment around, you got lucky to have him in your squad. And it's like, I had him since game week 10. How is that lucky? Give me your thoughts on this in the comments. I really want to hear what you guys think about this notion of, are we getting lucky because players have poor data and are overperforming? Or are you more on the side of, hey, maybe he's overperforming, but I'm going to take the FPL points. I'm going to take the FPL points. I'm happy to have more Rogers in my squad. And I still have 4 other midfield spots to sort out who I nearly actually want, who maybe has better data or I feel is a better fit for my squad. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on this. I'm happily going to take one of the second high scoring midfielder in the game in terms of goals. And let's now move into this updated free hit draft that I have for you guys. Okay, so here's the team and how it lines up for free hit 18. And I wanted to go a little bit more in depth to give you guys some of my updated thoughts. So first, when we look at this team, the idea is defensively, I want people with great matchups with the fixtures. So we have double Everton defense. We could do a triple up here, but I think I can only max play 4 defenders in this squad. So with Pickford, I think he's a standout goalie. And then Tarkowski, who's just a DEFCON monster. And also, so solid. He had the clearance in the last game off the line from Bukayo Saka. He's always around the DEFCON, so he has to be in the team. And then Arsenal, I don't want to discount their defense, even with the injuries. And Calafiori is one of my picks, as you'd seen on other videos here I made, that I think he's a strong option, cheaper than Timber, and really someone who gets up and down the pitch. Good for DEFCONs, and I think he could get a goal or 2. So that's why he's in the squad. And then so when we look at the rest of the defense, Frimpong is the big wild card. I need to see if Slot says he has any issues, because he actually was a sub that got subbed in the last game. But other than that, he's definitely someone like Lewis Potter that we saw in last week for those who went free hit, who got 21 points. Like, these are the types of players you want to punt on in a free hit, because if they explode, you're just laughing, right? So there's that. And then one thing that I got a lot of comments on was, what about Crystal Palace in terms of I don't have any Crystal Palace assets. They may not be looking good. The reason Crystal Palace is in here is because they face a Tottenham side that doesn't have Romero in the back, one of their stalwart defenders, and doesn't have Xavi Simons, who's they're both lost to suspension for cards. So for me, I'm like, okay, the Premier League, anything can happen. It's always unpredictable. Palace at home is going to look to bounce back, so Gay might be a great pick in defense. So that's how the defense is set up. And then I have Ballard, who actually does have a strong fixture, and he does really well at home, which is why I have him in my squad against Leeds at home. So that's how the defense looks. I think it's okay. And now let's look into the midfielders. So another big topic that we always hear about is Bukayo Saka. Is he slowing down? Is he, doing enough? He's 10.3 million. I think on my X, there's like 3 or 4 accounts who are always talking about getting him out because he's 10.3 million. My view is this: Saka is the star. He's the one who I count on for returns from an Arsenal perspective. He, Declan Rice, if he starts scoring more goals, he definitely would, surpass Saka, I would say, because they both share set pieces. But Saka is still on penalties, even though they gave the last one to Gyökeres. He's such a great player at home. And he is the guy who usually finds the key to unlock when Arsenal needs a goal, especially at home. So he needs to be in the squad. And, against Brighton, that's a good matchup for him. And then I did go double up with Rice. So I do have Rice in the squad to give me that extra assurance that, I have both set piece takers. And if Arsenal score a set piece goal, we're going to get at least an assist from Rice or Saka, knock on wood. And then the last 2 players, the last one I'm probably not sure on is Yeremy Pino from Crystal Palace. Arsenal and Crystal Palace are playing today. So people don't, when I drop this video tomorrow, take a look at what happened in that game, because ultimately don't go early. Like I mentioned in my last video on transfers, you got to wait and see what happens. If anyone comes out unscathed, I'm going to be looking at the minutes of the Arsenal assets as well and the Crystal Palace assets. But Pino is definitely more of a punt, a differential. He, is really cheap at 5.8 million, and someone who may be able to, have a return against Spurs, which I already mentioned is sort of depleted. And they also have Spurs injuries, long-term injuries of a lot of their players who are out. So that's why he's on the squad, and I'm not necessarily so sure on him. And then Wirtz is the other player that I'm like, not sure on. But in a free hit draft, these are the types of players, if he comes away with a couple of returns, you're going to have him, and a lot of people wouldn't. I know people have downgraded Bruno to go to Wirtz, but there's still so many people who are maybe thinking of putting him in just because of the risk. So there's high upside with a player like that. And then finally in the forward line, Ekitike is probably going nowhere. Haaland is in there. And one thing I also heard from a lot of people were, okay, why don't you have more City players in the squad? I think City can be skipped, especially outside of Haaland. I think their defense can be skipped because there's just cheaper defenders that I think will do a lot better in my squad on a free hit. And then midfielder, the only one you're considering is Foden, who, I have some regret because I think I may have missed his hot streak. Of course, he could get hot again, but the next 2 away games are against away to Forest and away to Sunderland. Especially the Sunderland fixture, that's a tough matchup. And even Forest, yes, they haven't been so great, but they only did concede 1 goal in their last goal against Fulham. So, I'm not really sure that, keeping 3 City assets on a free hit makes sense. So that's how the squad looks for now. The one consideration I could do is I could try and find the funds. Like if I took down Yeremy to go to Thiago and just leave him in the squad, because a lot of people are thinking, oh, maybe he's a bounce back player. And, that still leaves me 6.1 million. So I could take a look at what defender I could bring in for that price. Because there's a view of like Thiago being a bounce back player. Bournemouth has been very leaky. And at home, we know that Thiago performs a lot better. And so, looking at this squad, I mean, could probably just put in like a Xhaka. Or actually, do I have the funds to get to a Grealish? Because he was another name that came up, and that could be my triple Everton. So let's take a look here. I'm 4.0 million short, so I'd have to downgrade Ballard because I wouldn't be playing five defenders. So just downgrade Ballard to a 4.0. Grealish was in my squad a couple weeks ago. He was a consideration, and then boom, there it goes. You can fit it. You can fit it that way. So then the team, how it lined up would be Pickford in goal, Calafiori, Frimpong, Gay, and Tarkowski. So solid defense. Saka, Verts, Rice, and Grealish. Grealish, huge upside pick. Not many people are going to go for him away to Burnley. And then we have Thiago, Holland, and Ekitike. So I'd maybe have to drop a defender to play a 3-4-3. Lots of so who would I go with? Maybe drop Frimpong, to be honest with you. Maybe drop Frimpong. And then I could play Calafiori, Gay, Tarkowski at the back, Saka, Rice, Verts, and Grealish, and then Thiago, Holland, and Ekitike. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Just did that on the fly. Still lots of time before the deadline. It's a Friday deadline, but still enough time to round my thoughts. Let me know what you're doing. If you're doing free hit 18 or going free hit 19, we'd love to know in the discussion. And that's all I have for this updated free hit draft. So for the holiday checklist, this is a really one where you want to take a look at how your team has done and how it's performed. And I recently did a video on differentials, and in that video, I had two different charts, how my differential team performed versus my regular team. And one of the biggest things was the differential team, there are some duds on that squad. And I have to consider Collins a dud. I know he just had the clean sheet, but he had no goal. He still has no goals, no assists. And in a lot of videos, I kept saying, hey, I'm waiting for this guy to score a header goal, and he didn't just show up. So he's not someone that maybe I want to keep moving forward. He's 4.9 million, and there probably is some other areas I could move there. So you want to be actively looking. The first bit of advice on a holiday checklist, look at your squad and look at players you've owned for many, many weeks who haven't really been returning, like a Collins, and think, okay, maybe I should try and get them out moving forward. So that's one. The other thing is hold your transfers and try and build up some transfers before the new year. So we have a couple deadlines, two before the new year, so you can theoretically save two transfers. You can if you're using a free hit, because it's sort of annoying how that wipes out your transfer for the week that you used a free hit in. But ultimately, try and save as many transfers as you can. This game is so unpredictable. Things happen all the time. Bruno got hurt out of the blue. He never gets hurt. And now people are stuck and having to take hits. You don't want to take hits. You're going to lose ground on the overall rankings and in your mini leagues. And it just is a horrible feeling to be in that space. So that's the advice I would have there. And then ultimately, look at the next run of fixtures. So I know for my squad, City has a good run of fixtures after the new year, fairly good run. So that's the reason why, I'm considering keeping some of their assets. And it's sort of just one of those things where, you want to make sure that your team is sort of, they have Brighton at home too. They have Brighton at home, Manchester United away, and Wolves at home. So the first game of the fixture is of the new year is against Chelsea at home. So I know the Chelsea fixture probably will be tough, but a lot of home games in there, and they never mind a derby, especially Haaland, who scores a bunch of goals there, and they have a home game against Wolves. So City is a team I definitely would keep in my back pocket around, okay, the fixtures maybe aren't the greatest right now, but after the new year, they get quite nice, and they have those home fixtures where City at home is, always such a lock to do damage. So those are some of my key things to consider on a quick holiday checklist. Let me know if any of those resonated with you. And thanks so much for tuning in to this video. Hopefully you found this video informative and helpful as I looked at Morgan Rogers and how he's a player with poor data, but that has been performing FPL points. And that's where you decide if he's worth it getting into your squad. As well, we looked at my updated free hit draft. I hope you found that helpful and answered some of the questions you may have around players to consider for free hit 18. And then finally, just taking a look at the checklist and looking at what you can do to maximize your transfers and hold on to them, as well as target players in your squad that haven't been performing and get them out of the squad. The last thing I want to mention is I'm so thrilled and I'm thankful for all of you. My last video, my original free hit video, it hit over 1,000 views. I'm so lucky to get to that milestone for my first video. I started this channel just over a month ago, so really appreciative for all of that. If you can, please like and subscribe and bring the holiday cheer to this channel. I love making this content for you guys and hope you find it valuable. So you can subscribe down below and check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks so much. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.